Okay. Yeah, very good afternoon to one person here. The most respected senior professors who joined this afternoon, Professor Nararaja Pillai, Professor Ram Murthy, my dear friend Professor Selva Kumar, my dear colleagues, and my dear student friends, research scholars from Department of Linguistics and other departments, and participants and professors from other institutions. It is my pleasure to welcome you all for this 9th day webinar program on translation. And for today's session, we are lucky to have a foreign delegate, Professor Dr. Louis Wong Ling is with us today. And Dr. Louis is from the Department of Translation Studies, University of Malaya, Malaysia. And when I approached her to take one session for translation, especially in machine translation, she wholeheartedly agreed, and she said, I will come and talk to you people. And thanks for her great gesture on the Department of Linguistics and we people. And to talk about Professor Dr. Louis, she had a wonderful track record on translation studies. And she is the director of the Department of Translation at the University of Malaya, Malaysia. And she got her degree in 2013, the doctorate degree in the School of Oriental and Asian Studies at the University of London in 2013. And followed by that, she had done a couple of projects with BBC Cruise, and she made some minor projects with language of Malaya and to English and English into Malaya. And she has contributed a reasonable work in the task of the Masudir and the crocodiles in 111 languages. And she has been to several countries as plenary speaker. She had been to India very recently, and she delivered a lecture at the College of Ramasamy Naidu Memorial College. And she is a QS subject expert and focus summit of College of Korea. And she is a regular speaker and invited speaker and guest lecture, foreign guest lecturer of the University of Chennai. And she has been invited several occasions. And her acquaintance with India is really noteworthy. And luckily, we have her this afternoon. And she is going to talk about a topic which is very pertinent to this hour, that is related to human existence in artificial intelligence world from the perspective of translators and researchers of translation. And today she is going to talk about on this topic, and her expertise in research related to translation, especially the mainstream languages of Malaya, Chinese, and English, is very helpful for us, because when we approach the translation in multilingual perspectives, a wide spectrum of analysis approaches and technique strategies, if they are involved from the personal and the real experience, that will induce and help us in the translation activities, especially in the countries like India, where we have a multicultural, multilingual setup, badly or very highly in need of the techniques of translation. And when it is in need of inculcating with AI, these kind of strategies and technologies are very much essential. In this line, and Dr. Louis is going to deliver a lecture, and hope we all can listen to her, and followed by the lecture, we will just interact with her. So with this simple introduction, on behalf of the Department of Linguistics, on behalf of my senior professors, and on behalf of my colleagues, and on the behalf of the university as a whole, I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Louis to present her lecture this afternoon. You are welcome, ma'am. Please go ahead. You can share your screen now and you can go ahead. Please.
I will share my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, we can see. Can you please increase the volume of your computer a little bit?
Okay. You can't hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can see clearly. Yeah, the slides are clear now. The volume, if you can just increase the volume a little bit high, is okay.
The volume is a bit low. Okay. That is the loudest already.
Yeah, it's okay.
I try to speak a bit louder. Is it okay?
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Okay.
All right. First of all, I'm very grateful, okay, for Dr. Subramaniam for inviting me to speak on this very important conference that you have. You asked me to talk about translation and machine translation. When I was actually writing an article on what is the future for translator. So I was thinking that, oh wow, it was just the right time for me to talk about what the future lies for the translator. My title is a human assistant in an AI world. So how do we exist, in while looking at what is happening as if like the AI is going to take over or the robots are going to take over our world from the perspective of translators and perspective of researcher. And this reflect the conference team, which is the amalgamation of man, machine, and language in contemporary activities. Even though I don't touch so much on bilingual or multilingual perspective, but more in man and language relation. I'm Dr. Louis, and if you see screen, there's this N Haifa, that is the officer's name. My computer, it seems that there was some problem with the internet connection. I'm Dr. Louis, lecturer, okay, of the University Malaya, and I graduated from SOAS, School of Oriental and University of London, and my area of expertise was on explicitation of conjunction. So what I at corpus, and to do research using software. Okay, and 2016 when I started teaching my students, and they were using Google, and saw that Google was so good. Okay, it was so good that it almost, okay, a lot of people say Google Translate is perfect. Yes, it's no doubt it's not perfect. Okay, but a lot of things, a lot of problems that Google couldn't do long. In 2016, suddenly I felt that, okay, when I saw the translation, I felt that it was pretty good. Okay, that prompts me to research on what's next for me to teach my students. So this my lecture. Okay, I will start with Industrial Revolution 4.0. I understand that Dr. talking on Industrial Revolution 5.0. I know that I'm a bit backward. This is what I can understand. Okay, at this point of time, okay, it's only 4.0. Perhaps Dr. will move forward to Industrial Revolution 5.0. After that, I'm going to talk typologies, okay, by Hutching and Sommer, just to give you a little background. And the technology being used currently, okay, there are so many technologies that are being used, so I will just go through a bit, and I will focus on the history of machine translation and machine translation architecture, some terminology related to neural machine translation, because there are a few terminology that is like misleading, and what is neural machine translation and how is it different from machine translation, things like that. Yeah, some news related to neural machine translation. Then we asked the question, is translation or neural machine translation going to disrupt the translation work? Yeah, because just many users nowadays when it comes to the usage of Google Translate. Yeah, and I look at reports by Taos, okay, and also World Economic Forums on the future work. And next, on how can we survive, okay, in this AI world, okay, from the perspective of translators and also the research. Yeah, I move on to Industrial Revolution 4.0. Yeah, I think there is a need to describe, what is Industry 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and until 4.0, so that we can have a clearer picture of what happened, okay, time until now, okay, the historical development. Yeah, in Industrial Revolution 4.1, okay, it was during whereby the machine was powered by steam engine, okay. Industrial Revolution, machine powered by electricity. Industrial Revolution 3, electricities and information. And Industrial Revolution 4, fusion of technologies, okay. And as I was looking for the maybe the notion of Industry 4.0, I came across, okay, from this notion by Professor Klaus Schwab, okay, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, the one who kind of like started, okay, saying that, oh, okay, we are now into industrial revolution. And what it says was, okay, there is this staggering confluence, okay, of emerging technologies, okay, covering wide range such fields such as AI, robotics, of things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. Yeah, okay, experience artificial intelligence, okay, when it comes to neural machine, just like our Google Translate, okay. We also see robotics in work now, okay. And when I was watching country on China, how they produce silk, okay. Last time, it's like the whole family, will chip in and feed the worms and do a lot of things. At this moment, the actually just without anyone except one or two workers, okay. So I was just a bit worried, on what will happen in the future. And there's this Internet of Things, okay, whereby whatever thing at home, perhaps let's say the fridge, okay, so there will be some chips inside, okay. And when I say, or maybe I will say like my rice cooker, okay, they say, oh, okay, I'm going home in 15 minutes, okay. I will just say, okay, in 15 minutes, my rice cooker, okay, should start cooking rice for me, so that at the end, okay, when I reach, okay, I would have a very hot bowl of rice, okay. And we already saw autonomous vehicles and also nanotechnology, where the technology is like the chips or whatever it is, okay, it's so small, right? Yeah, so we can see a confluence of all these things. It means there is this connect, yeah, of all these things, and everything is like moving together. Next, I will to things related to machine translation and human translation. I'm sure those translators scholars, translation scholars would know this diagram. Okay, on my far right, translation. Okay, in like maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, that's what we did. Okay, we have a very dictionary and we have pen and pencil. Okay, and we start translating, yeah, all by ourselves. Okay, only of dictionary. Okay, but on my far left, okay, there is this thing called fully automated high quality Okay, and long time ago, okay, people think that okay, this is impossible. Okay, but it seems actually moving towards this fully automatic high quality translation. Okay, what is a fully high quality translation? For example, let's say Google. Okay, if Google is so good, okay, and it reach a human translation, then we will consider it as fully automatic high quality translation. And in between experiencing here, we have this machine aided human translation. Okay, usually here we have translation memory. Okay, so what we do is that we collect all the data, okay, the text and translated text, we put it inside, then that would be our memory. Okay, and the next time when the another source text given to us, and when it was partly in the memory, and then the memory will call it up, and that it is actually a human a human translation. Okay, but it's added. Okay, but in the middle here, okay, there's this human aided machine translation, more like what we are experiencing Google now. Okay, whereby Google will translate most of the things, and what we do is that we aid, okay, human aid, okay, but it's machine translated, but human aid. Okay, at this point here, okay, is translation but machine aided. Okay, here we call them CAT2, okay, or computer assisted. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about the technologies used in translation at my school, University Malaya. Okay, what I teach is that I teach my students translation schools. Okay, one of the subject, yeah, as one of the subject. So we talk about some of the online resources. Okay, dictionaries. Okay, they are very helpful. Okay, we have monolingual dictionary, we have bilingual dictionary. Sometimes we have idiomatic phrases dictionary. Okay, and we also have thesaurus. Okay, if we couldn't find certain words, then we go to thesaurus, and thesaurus will give us a plethora of different words. Okay, that is of the semantic field. Okay, and encyclopedia is also very important. It gives us some background knowledge. Okay, sometimes I will use as my non-translated text. Okay, what is non-translated text? Okay, I think a lot of professors here would know. Okay, but for the benefit of the students, yeah, non-translated texts are text written originally. For example, if my source text is Tamil, okay, my translated text is English, my non-translated, okay, is English. Okay, and it is written originally by the English. Okay, we want to compare the non-translated text because we want to make sure that our translated text is as translated text. So sometimes, okay, if I were be to be given, okay, a text, and it's related to, let's say okay, a plant, okay, coconut tree. Okay, so I would, yeah, and I was asked to translate from to English. Okay, so I would go to look for the English encyclopedia text, okay, related to coconut tree, and I will look at the way they write, okay, and some of the terminology before I actually translate my translation, so that okay, I would use a better terminology. Okay, we also have a terminology the databases. Okay, for example, a terminology database. Okay, if we were asked to translate documents related to UN. Okay, and I also use heavily a corpus. Okay, what I do is that sometimes I will go to British National Corpus. Sometimes I will go to Corpus of Contemporary American English. Okay, to make sure that my collocation use is correct. Okay, or whether I want to check whether certain words, okay, are being used in sentences. Okay, that's where I use all these national corpus to check. And sometimes, a lot of times, we also go to forums, okay, to ask questions. Okay, because yeah, and sometimes haven't asked that question, someone else will have asked the question. So we will get the answer. Okay, so we have all resources here. And also we have machine translation, okay, which we're all quite familiar with. Okay, we also have translation memory, okay. The famous translation memory, okay, but here in University of Malaya, we use word fast, okay. And sometimes because of okay, the students are not at the lab, okay. What I use is word fast anywhere, because anywhere is actually the online version, okay. So we actually do not need to download any software, and it's what this translation memory will do is that, okay, as I've actually um, what we did is to use all the old memory and put it in the system, okay. And also I think the terminology aspect is also very important. We identify the terminology in there, so that, okay, at the end, okay, when ask for, yeah, it's in our source text, we can actually use the term that we translated. So it assists standardization as well, okay. And in also teach the students corpus linguistic, yeah, so that they are able to research on some aspects of the words, okay. The one Ancom, because it's also free online, you can just download. What we can see from Ancom is that there are three things, okay. The first one is concordance, okay. If you look at the word, let's say I want to know how the word love is used, okay, in the whole text, okay. So I put the text inside, okay. I look for the word love. I can see the word love in the middle, okay, together with all the actual words, okay. And I also can look for frequency list, and I also can compare with other or keywords list, okay. And not forgetting also this translation memory system. A lot of translation agency are using them, okay. What it does is that, okay, it manage the workflow. So let's say I'm an agent, okay, of a translation company, and I have 10 translators, okay, and maybe another 10 reviewer, okay. And this system allowed me to manage all my reviewer, also manage all my clients. Maybe I have 50 clients. So my clients will log in and to know whether their is finished and who is the translator doing it, and yeah, and the payment also can make online. Yeah, on to this data-driven quality assessment, okay. And TAUS came up with this dynamic quality evaluation framework. What they did is that, okay, they kind of record a person, a translator, how much time they use to translate certain text. Yeah, whether they do revision, okay, what kind of revision, okay, all these are important behavioral data. And with this kind of data, okay, the maybe the agent, okay, or the boss, okay, can actually evaluate how good the translators are, okay, whether they high return of investment, things like that, okay, how fast they can translate, or which area would a translator um, translate better, okay. With that, okay, they can actually assign words, okay, to the specific translator. Yeah. Also have this cloud computing, yeah, like smart cat, okay. Also see a convergence of tools whereby things as just now Professor Klaus used the word what was it already, let me see. Okay, here, okay, here we use the word convergence, okay. It means that things are moving together. For example, WhatsApp, okay, I actually can download my Google translate, okay, so that, okay, I can actually translate using Google, okay, on my WhatsApp, okay. And there's this very interesting software, okay, by Transcend China, okay. It's called Translator. Okay, what they did is that there's machine translation in that, okay, in the system, and at the same time they allowed the translator to okay. Once the translator edited the work, okay, whatever edited work, okay, is saved, okay, and used by the machine, yeah, to produce better translation in the future. So next we move on to the history of machine translation. Okay, yeah, in okay, already there was early attempts, okay, to make machine translation. 1949, okay, through waiver memorandum, okay, um, Weaver said that, okay, yeah, it's actually not very difficult things to do. Okay, we just change the coding, because language is universal. Okay, and that drew interest from US, and the first conference, okay, started in MIT. All right, and the first public demonstration, okay, by Georgetown University, and there were 250 entries, 250 words, okay, with 6 grammar rules, okay, and they managed to translate a sentence, okay. And in 1960, yeah, this person, okay, is a US, okay, bar killer, okay, criticized the fully automatic high quality translation, says that it's not realistic, okay, because to him, like, there's just so many semantic ambiguity, so it is impossible to make a fully automatic high quality translation. And so with that, okay, committee was formed, okay, it was called Automatic Language Processing Advisory Committee. And what they say was that they came out with the report, okay, the report wasn't that good, okay. They say that, oh, there's no for translation, yeah, and it's not cost effective, okay, and still in need of human interaction, okay. With that, okay, US stopped funding, okay, the machine translation. However, research intensified in 1970s, okay, like in Canada, they managed to do weather translation, okay, and EU bought overseas Cistran in 1976, okay, and 1980 commercialization, 1990s, okay, different companies came out with different methods making machine translation, okay. One is statistic methods, okay, another one example-based methods, and only in 2016, okay, at Google, okay, before 2016, Google statistical method, but after 2016, they were just using neural machine translation. It seems, okay, there's this futurologist, okay, who predicts that in 2009, which is about 9 years from now, okay, the machine will reach parity, okay, or singularity. It means that the machine churn out will be as good as human translation, okay. That we are not sure, okay, but that is what.
Dr. Louis, I'm sorry to interrupt. Dr.
Yes?
Louis, yeah, I'm
Yes?
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. Your screen is not in full. Please adjust your screen so that you can see your whole face. Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. So just now
Yeah,
was
thank you.
okay on my face.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Okay. Just a rule-based architecture in 1950. Okay. For example, if English is noun followed by adjective followed by is noun followed by adjective. Okay, so they put the rule inside. Okay, example based next in 1980, statistical based, okay, in 1990s to 2015, and something changed. Okay, 2015 or 2016, okay, something changed. Okay, and it's a neural based architecture. And with this neural based architecture, there are few terms, okay, which I didn't know what it is. Okay, so I was trying to find the easiest definition of what is machine learning, what is deep learning. Yeah, because we are not computer people. Okay, all the bit difficult for us to grasp. Okay, so I found one of the easier explanation. Machine learning, okay, is a subset of artificial intelligence, and it can modify itself. It can self-learn. Okay, it means that, okay, as long as you put in data, okay, especially for machine translation, if you put in good or clean parallel, okay, yeah, the machine, okay, the artificial intelligence should be able to churn out pretty good translation, okay, and at the same time it's self-learn. All right. And what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning? Okay, so according to this poll, okay, deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and machine learning is a subset, okay, of intelligence. And the difference between machine learning and deep learning is that, okay, it simply is that, okay, many layers. Okay, it means that there are many layers of algorithms. Okay, and it's just like network in your brain. Okay, so it will have many layers of algorithms so that it come up with even a better translation than the machine learning. Yeah, and there are also a few more terminology, okay, which coming from the background, you know, who doesn't know much about computer science, okay, we find it a bit daunting. Yeah, and I always ask Mr. Elan, okay, who is a friend of Injit Subra, yeah, and what does it mean, okay? So here you are, okay. I got it from Wikipedia, okay. Natural language processing, okay, is a subfield of linguistics. So it actually involves computer science, it involves artificial intelligence, okay. And to learn how to program computers, okay, to process and analyze large amount of natural language data. And for computational linguistics, okay, is also to analyze, synthesize, and of written and spoken language. They are kind of like a bit overlapping here. There's this speech recognition, text to speech, synthesizer, interactive voice response engine, text editor, language instruction materials, and this require expertise in machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. Yeah, but when I ask some of my who say that, okay, natural language processing is more for computer science students, while okay, is it's like slightly more towards those students. All right. Now let's move on to some of the news. Yeah, just too many news related to machine translation, especially since 2000 and 2016. Okay, for example, here, okay, Baidu sells human translation at rock bottom to gain edge in AI. What Baidu needed was data. Okay, so they asked a group of people. This group of translators need to translate about 15 hours a day. Okay, so that, okay, they actually got the data do is that they will use the data to be feed into the system. Okay, so in the AI system, churn up good translation. Okay, same as Sogo. Okay, Sogo invests 6 to 7 million in Shanghai-based UTH in a scramble for translation data. That was in 2017. Lingui founder launched DeepL in challenge Google Translate. Okay, these are some of the news that I found. Okay, Amazon pits neural translation framework against Google, Facebook, and others. Okay, and Microsoft that, okay, they have reached a milestone. Okay, they are able by using AI, they are able to match human performance. That's what we call popularity, yeah, yeah, from the translating of news from Chinese to English. Neuro machine translation is the next big thing, okay, 2016, okay, and Facebook leads 2019 WMT International Machine Translation. Okay, so we know translation gained popularity, especially neural machine translation gained popularity in 2016, and players are actually trying to collect a lot of data, okay, so that okay they can churn out okay better machine translation. And some of the neural machine translation that we know is like Google, Baidu, Microsoft Translate, DeepL, and Yandex. Okay, and let's talk about Google Translate. Okay, which we are actually more familiar. Yeah, but in Malaysia, most of my students actually prefer to use Google Translate. Yeah, reason that okay, it turned out better translation. Okay, and Google Translate support this, and is used it's the daily usage is 133 million words. Me, PIM, based on this figure 143, did a calculation. Okay, if 33,000 full-time translator, and if they were to translate 300 words per day, so they can only translate 1 billion words. Okay, and that shows that okay, according to PIM, okay, translation is a social activity. Okay, it's not like the activity only by the translators, but a lot of us, you know, in daily usage, we somehow just go to Google Translate. Even let's say if you are not a translator, but in to learn how to say certain things in another language, or you forgot how things are said in another language, yeah, we do Google Translate, okay, just to assist us, and it becomes a social activity. And the futurologist for you, okay, was Ray Kurzweil, okay, and says that by 2029, okay, there will be singularity in translation. Okay, it means that the machine is as good as human translation. Okay, 9 years from now. Okay, with worried, okay, but not now, okay, but that was a few years back when I don't know where to head, okay, but I feel better now, okay, after I did this research, okay. So my question was that, okay, would it still my students, okay, or will there still be work for me, you know, things like that, okay. So with that, yeah, documents that I tried to read, okay. One is a document by Taos, okay, and Taos is this Automation User Society. I think last year I went to Singapore just to attend. Yeah, they did a research, okay, and they asked 200 respondents, okay, from member consists of decision makers, people in director level, okay, Tom, Dick, and Harry, not those people on the street, okay, but those decision makers, okay, those owner, okay, of businesses, okay, about what they think the future would be like, okay, or what they think the translation industry will be in 2022, okay, and they came out with 6 drivers of change, okay, things that that they thought that it would change, okay, yeah, it's machine learning, machine translation, quality management. How do you manage the whole ecosystem, translation ecosystem, okay, and data, and related to operability, okay. Okay, I'm actually more concerned about academy, okay. And from the whole article, okay, these are some of the statements that I found, okay, that is very interesting, and it will show us where we could be in the next maybe 10 years. All right. The first thing is about post editing. Okay, it's very true that okay, with Google Translate, translators now become post editor. Okay, one thing I don't like is that the agent, okay, would call us, okay, as post editor, okay, and give us less pay. Okay, that is the on here. Okay, they call us post editing because, okay, in Malaysia, if you translate one word, is about cents, sometimes it's 40, 50 cents. Okay, but if you edit a word, it would be like 10 cents. So it's lesser. Okay, so some of the agents are trying to call us translators as post editor. That they say that, oh, the machine has already done part of the job. Okay, so what you do is that change here a little bit here and there, so you actually did not put in so much effort. Okay, but I think that it shouldn't be the way, because as a post editor, or actually as a translator, but post editor, we actually need to look at the source text and the translated text, and to make sure that all the meaning is there, and flow of language. And yeah, so I think that the practice of calling us as post editor, yeah, I actually not quite agree. Okay, but this is what is happening now. Okay, the translators are asked to do post, because things are actually translated. Part of the things are actually translated by the machine. Okay, for okay, it will be at least a short while. Okay, until the machine could reach parity, or could reach singularity. And even so, I think that maybe there would be the machine could actually able to reach parity, but there are also certain areas that the post editor job is still needed. Okay, and another job that they suggested, okay, was that because of this globalization, okay, they create a demand for translation. Okay, the reason is that because people want to know more about other culture, like I would like to know more about Indian culture. Okay, yeah, so with that, okay, they foresee that, okay, there will be more long text, okay, to be translated. Okay, and next, okay, they also see that they foresee that translators could become writers, journalists, storytellers, cultural consultants, global brand promoters. Okay, and next, okay, if moving towards technological aspect, okay, we as translators, okay, if we train, okay, in terms in the area of translation, yeah, as well as being very savvy in technology, or maybe data analysis. Okay, that's where we actually could go. Okay, for example, we could become, okay, because here that's what they say. Okay, there's a strong need for data scientists, specialists, analysts, still absent from the translation industry. So in the translation industry, we need data, and also we need computational linguists. Okay, so when Dr. Subramaniam told me that yeah, there are 4 courses that you have, okay, at your University of Baratia, I think that those are very good courses related to translation per se, and 2 actually related to computation. Okay, I think at this moment there are some university who are actually combining technology. One is the University of Geneva. Okay, another one is, I think it's the University of Dublin. Have a master's in translation and technology. So I think that's where we are heading. We can't just do translation by itself, because the things are changing. But if you have a trust background, and then coupled with technology background, okay, that would be um, good for you. Okay, unfortunately, here in UST Malaya, we still do not have the computational linguistic, but we have with us the science, computer science department, whereby we are going to have a collaboration that they will be teaching us a natural language thing. Yeah, so for us as well, okay, we are trying to have a little steps to move forward. Yeah, so that we are not far behind from technology. Okay. Next, search on the future of job reports, okay? Because I'm training students that I want to see, where can they, what can they do in future, okay? And this World Economic Forum, okay, and the report actually um, um, was gathered through 313 respondents, and they directors, okay, they are usually a chief human resource manager. Again, they are not like people on the street, okay, but those people, okay, who needs to have a future outlook of what is going on, okay. Economic Forum, okay, 2018 report, there was no direct mention of translation job, okay. Graph, okay, on regional level, okay, the Eastern European and Central Asian reported that, yeah, the job for a translator would decline, okay. So when I look at it, I say, oh, going to be decline. So what's next for us, okay? But not to worry, okay. After the show, I will show you we could actually do, yeah. And this I know is a bit small. This is taken from a World Economic Forum 2018. On my far left, okay, is rows. On my far right, it shows the redundant rows. It means that, okay, we shouldn't area, okay, but in the middle, it shows us the new roles, okay. The new roles would be data analyst, those would be AI machine learning specialist, big data specialist, digital transformation specialist, technology specialist, software application development analyst. And I was like so happy, okay, because okay, they says that there's this people and culture, okay, which I think that, okay, we as a translator could really park in that in this category as people and culture, yeah. And there are some people who say that yeah, they would not be parity, yeah. A lot of my colleagues, some of my colleagues will say that, oh no, machine translation can't do a lot of things, which is true at this moment, okay. um some of the things that machine at this moment couldn't do, okay, because is this mismatch of dominance, okay, and they can't translate verbs, okay, or whether to change a long sentence to short sentence, okay, and the linkage could be not very smooth, okay. Definitely, a lot of my friends say that, okay, oh no, machine could never translate my emotion, style could not translate culture, or what if I want to add things, I want to make things more explicit, the machine couldn't, or what if I want to translate for different purpose, the machine couldn't do, humor, machine couldn't translate, okay. So there are a lot of things that a machine couldn't do, okay. And on top of that, okay, you data, okay, if you do not have good parallel data, yeah, then the machine quality of the machine will be not as good, okay. And they also raise, okay, what about dialect, machine translation couldn't have language pair with dialect. What about the indigenous languages, okay, there is none, okay. So really room for improvement for machine translation, and we thank God there's still room of improvement so that we do something about it, yeah. And next I move on to translators assistant in an AI, okay. What could we do, okay? At this moment we could be post editor, okay, at least the next 10 years, okay. Yeah, and when we post edit, okay, a lot of times, okay, they use whatever that we edited, okay. If we edit in the Google Translate, they will actually take into consideration of, okay, or maybe like translator, okay, they will keep what we have edited and then try to train the okay. And I like what Anthony Pim said. Okay, he came to Malaysia for a conference. In his article, okay, how neural machine might change the world later. Okay, he also mentioned about post editor, but what he said was that, okay, we shouldn't be at this post editor level. Okay, we should be someone that's so trustworthy, okay, and okay, that, okay, when a text is asked for us to post edit, okay, we would be able to give the final say, saying that, okay, this translation is of good quality. All right, okay, and we can also work on the people and cultural area proposed by the World Economic Forum. Okay, we could actually translate creative stories. There are certain texts, okay, which at this moment machine couldn't do it, like persuasive text, political text, nice text, okay, which need a lot of persuasion, okay, and maybe text, okay, that needs a bit of aesthetics, with a lot of aesthetics, emotion, aesthetic language and emotion in that. And what we can do is that, okay, this is what also we are heading, okay, besides being post editor, okay, what the translator do, okay, is to do localization. Um, yeah, like those of foreign text, okay, we need to translate to make to the local taste. Yeah, and we can, yeah, I think these are all kind of related: localization, trans creation. You adapt the text, you rewrite it, okay, to suit certain people. Okay, it's the area that we can go to. And Pim also say that we should be teaching our and journalism, because in journalism we don't just translate, okay, there's a lot of rewriting as well. And of course, we can be intercultural consultant. Let's say if you're good at 2 languages, okay, you could be promoter and your global brand promoter, to promote your products in the. All right, and those are the people who are kind of text translation, okay, and we can move on to those people who do not translate but actually of an agency. Okay, let's say you could be a project manager, okay, database manager or terminology manager, or client consultant. Okay, those are also related translation industry. And also we can move on to a bit to the technology. Okay, can be content profiling. Yeah, we can do content profiling. We can track the behavior of your client, of your trans, okay, and do big data analysis. Okay, or we can also of computational linguistics. I know that in case some of you may say that, oh no, okay, we are linguists, okay, we can't learn, we are not computer science people. But I would say that, okay, even though we are linguists, what it's good to know how people work, okay, have an idea. If you come up with an idea, oh, I want to make a technology that could do this, okay, and I know a little of computational linguistics, okay, and I know that certain things could be done, and then with that, it's easier for you to the computer scientists, and there wouldn't be any like a communication breakdown. Okay, at this moment, okay, if we will sit together with the computer linguist, computer scientist, when we start talking, it seems that we don't understand each other because each of us got different terminology, different language. Okay, learn a little bit and having a little bit of backgrounds, we actually could actually come out with some products. Okay, that is actually we as a linguist what we wanted rather than what the computer science people think that we actually need. Yeah, and based on Born, okay, and took it from Pim, okay, and here are some of the also some of the area by or some of the title given to some people who are working in the translation industry. Okay, they call them solutions architect, director of client solution consulting and technology solution, cloud solution architect, okay, solution manager for machine intelligence. Okay, okay, in this line, okay, yeah, we need to know a bit of technology. Okay, as I told you, University of Geneva, okay, they have this translation and technology courses. Okay, it's a combination of two different area. Okay, but they combine together and they teach the translation programming as well. Okay. Yeah. So just now I told you the Economic Forum report didn't show very good for translator. Okay, but in other reports, okay, like the Occupational Outlook Handbook, okay, it shows that 80% growth from 2016, 2018, 21% growth from 2019, 2020. Okay, and from Common Sense Advisory, okay, the language service industry actually by 56.18 billion by 2021. So even though the future is bleak at certain point, but there are still okay. For example, here there's this negative growth for company less than 50 employer. Okay, but for 450 employers, there are more. Okay, and next I move to existence of translation researcher in. Here I just look at what are some of the translation done or the research people. Okay, one is the MOOC on approaches to machine translation. Okay, they say that how they teach machine translation to the students. Okay, and there's another one whereby they look at and French. Okay, and this this English translation, they put it in this generic neural machine translation, and they put it under this statistic based tool. Okay, and they churn out. Okay, and they compare the okay with a French non-translated text. Okay, I suppose this is a corpus linguistic kind of work. Okay, and some they ask response from the people. Okay, do you feel that you are in control of the text? You use translation memory, or the technology increase or decrease your satisfaction? There are some like comparative analysis of human translation and editing. Okay, and one of my students is also looking into it. They look at the difference between and post editing, how much effort is needed, how fast it is. Okay, and recorded by eye tracking. Okay, and also keystroke logging. And the next one, role. Okay, here's another title here. And from Target, okay, it's also very famous journal. They look at risk of neural machine. Okay, they look at language industry will on the profile of post. And in Malaysia, we also have a fair share of research done on okay, for example, post editing machine. Okay, looking at their quality. Okay, and comparison of neural and statistic machine. In Singapore, there's a research done by Nanyang Technology. They look at how these two machines translate localized term, tenses, and repeated. Okay, this is my conclusion. Okay, machine translation machine. Okay, in a way disrupt. Okay, I want to use the word disrupt. Disrupt is a bit negative word. Okay, maybe change. Okay, the translator. Okay, we become post editor. Okay, and we actually spend less time, but we and also machine translation create different jobs. Okay, yeah, we could do localization, transcreation, yeah, we could involve ourselves, okay, in intercultural communication kind of job, okay, and perhaps we could also think of whether we want to go into translation and technology related jobs, okay. And as for machine translation and the relationship and the translation researcher, I think that, okay, there's a plethora of research we could do, okay, from the, okay, whether, okay, we could use machine to educate our students, okay, or from the product point, there are which machine give us what kind of error, okay, and we research that we can compare the translated text by the machine and the non-translated text, yeah, and we evaluate. And from the social point of view, we can evaluate whether the user is happy or not, okay, when they use the machine translation. Using machine translation will lower our creativity, okay, and how the technology influence flow, okay, and the risk. And from the cognitive point of view, we can actually look at how much cognitive load is needed, okay, if machine is to be used, okay. Yeah, and that's all for my yeah, these are my references, and thank you. Yeah.
谢谢乐怡老师。
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
I'll stop the sharing. Yeah.
yeah. So, nice. Now, the participants who want to ask questions or want some clarifications or participate in the discussion, you are welcome.
Shall I?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, doctor, you have 3,000 characters in Chinese, am I right? Approximately?
I think so.
Okay, doesn't matter. But the machine translation, does it find any problem regarding the characters? Number one.
Yeah,
Okay, now tell me.
when I see what is being churned out, yeah, it doesn't find any. It's actually pretty good translation at this moment. Yes.
And secondly, what are exactly, can you mention some problems between translation between our translation from Chinese to English? Can you mention 2 or 3? What kind of problems do you face?
Yeah, I actually Malay and English translation. Yeah, so I deal with Malay, not so much on Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can Malay. At this moment, okay, when we look at Google Translate, okay, Malay into English is actually very good. The product, the quality of product, okay, almost like maybe 90%, yeah, of accuracy. So, but it comes to of Malay, English into Malay, okay, the accuracy rate would be about 70 or 80%. Yeah. Yeah, at this moment, yeah, I can think of some of the examples for the problems, okay. Perhaps sometimes they couldn't the correct, yeah, especially collocation, yeah, they couldn't find a good word to go with. But okay, I think that is one of the major problem when it comes to translating of English into Malay.
So what kind of suggestion do you make to solve this problem?
Yeah,
will artificial intelligence work for this?
They actually, the artificial intelligence work on the data itself. Okay, so if you have good, would churn out good translation. So in order to have good data, what they could do now is that, okay, they would ask the machine to translate, okay, and then after ask the native speaker to post edit, okay. So whatever, okay, whatever information is there, they will again put it back into the machine, yeah, to improve the machine. That, okay, in a few years time, you know, that kind of problem, yeah, would not exist anymore. Yeah. So the more data you have, the more data you have, yeah.
Yeah. You assure a quality assurance then by 3-4 years, am I right?
I couldn't yeah, say 3-4 years according to this
maybe 2009 to 2029.
2029, yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
Okay, still there is a place for post editor because the human post editor is necessary, right?
Yes, at the moment is
that problem could not be solved so far. Not only for Malay, English and other languages as well.
Yeah. So at this moment, what we could, one of the course that we could actually teach our students is to teach them how to post edit, okay, the machine translation based on what is required, okay. Yeah. Because sometimes some clients actually do not need a very good translation, just understand, but other clients want very detailed and very accurate translation. So how to translate based on what is needed, okay, or the scopus of the you know.
Thank you, Subramanian. You can give it to others.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions, ma'am. These days, we are very much in need of, or there is a great demand for neural machine translation. That is the scope of feature translation activities started by Google. Now we could see it from Alexa and Siri and other tools also. So the neural machine translation may serve a lot of needs of the human being, for the reason that it is very fast, quick, and it can be incorporated very nicely with the cloud computing system. But the point here is, when we compare to the traditional word-to-word translation or the basic machine translation, this neural machine translation takes a lot of decision making in itself. So from Tamil to English, we could notice in a lot of cases, it is working nicely, but when coming to the point of collocation, what you mentioned from Malay to English and English to Malay, the same, you see, we also have. So the neural machine translation, it takes the decision of itself, and sometimes it may lead to utter confusion or in the other ambiguous manner. So we cannot rely duly on the neural machine translation, which is the scope of the feature. So there is no other alternative. But how to solve this issue? Of course, we have the post-editing issues and we can involve post-editors. But coming to the point of massive translation task and massive translation works in the bots and cobots system. So this neural machine translation, if it is not having that perfection, it may lead to malfunction or misfunction. So is there any alternative for this, or is there any suggestion to cope up, or is there any suggestion to strengthen the neural machine translation in near future?
Yeah, I'm not the neural machine translation. Okay, I hope that I could answer the question, but unfortunately, I think this question would be answered, okay, by traditional linguistic or natural language processing scientists who will come out with okay, or put in vital text, okay, or the text would have been read by a good reviewer, okay, to take away all the noises, okay, and put it in, okay, so that the machine would be able to better. Yeah.
Yeah, we are experiencing that one. Google is largely using in almost all kinds of equipments also. And they now develop indigenous AI-based systems in all kinds of electronic and gadgets and these online translation systems. I don't know what will be the future, how to tackle that one.
Yeah, if I look at those computational journals, okay, they are still looking to improve the machine. Yeah. So I look at these machine translation journals. Okay, I can see that the computational scientists are putting a lot of different. For example, they mix the statistical machine with neural, okay, to get a better machine. Yeah, so they are actually working on it. Yes.
I think the involvement of the computational linguist is very minimal in these massive programs, or maybe one of the reasons. And the statistical machine translation, it is somehow better because to some extent they all follow the linguistic method of analysis, and starting from the corpus collection till the analysis, they go in such a way. But I mean, to the point of coherence point of view and the cohesive features of translation, these minute linguistic features are missing in many cases. So somehow we are compromising, but this may lead to major flaws in future course of action. When we go for employing the bots and GoBots and simple artificial intelligence enabled machines, if we just include this the massive data cloud into this system, I don't know what could be the future. So still the linguistic analysis, for the past few days, we the linguists were discussing a lot, and we need to reorient the linguist to involve in translation activities and machine translation also. There are a lot of issues. And,
it's why for us as
mm,
we need to step over, okay, to the other side, okay, to this computational linguistic, okay, and to work hand with them, okay. I think at this moment, a lot of them are actually working in silo, okay. They are coming out with their own machine without actually consulting us. Yeah, if it will be good if we both of us, okay, from field can actually work together. I'm sure that it will sparkle some more of what kind of works, yeah, and also maybe some software, okay, that thought about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So participants, if you have any questions, you please post your question or you can ask.
Dr. Subramaniam, there is a question in the chat box. You can,
Please,
perhaps you can read it, or she can read it.
Oh, chat box. Okay. So there's a question by Mr. Kumarasamy. Oh,
So
what
it's
is
talking about human existence. Okay, human. Yeah. So to me, human, it means translators. Yeah, and so yeah, and also researcher. Okay, from the researcher and yeah, translators point of view. Yes. I think very soon. Okay, it's not translation industry. Okay, as I told you, in a lot of factories. Okay, even like in the poultry. A lot of things actually yeah, done by AI or robots. Okay, so we see how we can actually fit in. So just now some of the areas, they are still couldn't by the AI. So that's where we are going. Okay, we don't as Professor Anthony said, we don't fight. If AI could translate very well, we don't fight with them. Okay, we go along with them, and we could find some areas that we are actually very good at. Okay, but the machine actually couldn't do such job.
Can I ask?
Yeah, yes, sir. Please louder, please.
Yeah. My just clarification. That,
Yes, sir. Sir,
whether,
please, sir.
are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. There's more than the artificial intelligence now. I think this deep learning will help. Deep learning will be more helpful in the future machine translation, and I think that will give more opportunities for the job from the point of view of job profiling. Will it be okay? Deep learning instead of artificial intelligence is a subset. Deep learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. It takes care of the multi-layered approach. It's a multi-layered approach. Therefore, it will give more solution, as you have suggested. The coherence, and all these things will be taken care of by the multi-layered approach. It's deep learning. Will it be?
I actually can't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Can you clarify on that?
Yeah. Loila, yeah.
No,
Can you enlighten something related to deep learning? That's what professor is asking.
Pardon?
Can you say something about deep learning and its future course of action when compared to AI? How this deep learning can solve the issues related to translation, especially in coherence and cohesive features of language?
Yeah, deep learning is that there are many layers of algorithm. Okay, so with many layers of algorithm, okay, many possibilities that we have thought about. Okay, I would think that yeah, they would be able to solve those problems in very near future. Okay, is that okay? It's not about what we could do is actually a lot of things because what we could do is that we could only translate and make the translation better. Once the translation is okay, when it goes in into this system, okay, and then what it will do is that it will learn what we do, okay, and at the end, after they learn what we do, they would be able to come out with translation that is better. Okay, I give you one example. When I talk to a friend of mine, he's Microsoft. Then I say that is there anything that I could do, as a linguist to help? To he will say that no, we don't need linguists. Yeah. The reason is that okay, what they need is data. Okay, how do they get data? Okay, they got the data from the internet. Okay, they crawl the whole internet and they got the bilingual data. And from the bilingual data, they put in some algorithm. Okay, of course, what kind of algorithm I don't know. Okay, so they put in algorithm and they with this algorithm, there are many layers of algorithm. And as I told you, machine learning same time self-learn. So in very near future, okay, they may not need us because self-learn. Yeah, all they need is data, okay, good data, and from there is yeah.
Thank you, madam. So, okay, thank you, madam. So, thank you for your clarification and the questions. Dr. Ramesh.
Yes.
So, if there is no more question, then we shall go for the formal vote of thanks.
Yes, very good evening to all present here. Let me thank Dr. Subramaniam for giving me this opportunity to deliver the vote of thanks. I thank my colleagues, Department of Linguistics, senior linguists who are participating in this session, my dear scholars, students, and other faculty members and scholars from other universities and institutions. At this juncture, I would like to give a big thanks to Dr. Louis Voi Ling. Hope my pronunciation is right.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Thank you. And
Thank you for having
so
me.
she has elaborately, I mean, touched upon almost all the parts of machine translation and the issues related to machine translation. And the title is Human Existence in an AI World from the Perspective of Translators and Researchers of Translation. So started with an introduction of future for translators. She has touched upon history of translation as well as the neuro-machine translation too. And elaborately, she had spoken about the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and the typologies of electronic translation tools too. And adding upon to that, technologies used in translations and history of translations also. And Dr. also has given a clear picture about the machine translation architecture and the machine learning, deep learning, etc. And not only that, the translation industry in 2022, she highlighted what could happen in future, and she also elaborated and enlightened about the jobs for the translators in future. So even though we still have a lot of issues in machine translation, according to Dr. Louis, in especially with English and Malay, English and Chinese, so 80% is accuracy. She says, which means it's a tremendous change in the history of translations, and hopefully, like this could reach to 100%. And according to Dr. Louis, the translation industry is picking up a lot and a lot of developments are happening. Anyhow, thank you so much, Doctor, for your enlightenment speech, and you have given us a very good exposure and what is all about machine translation and in the AI world. Thank you so much. I thank every participant, and I thank a special thanks to Dr. Louis Ling, the director, University of Malaya. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
Yes, I'm very grateful for Dr. Supramaniam for inviting me. Yeah, and also thank you, Dr. Shankar Ganesh, for your closing remarks. Yeah, I hope that my sharing to enlighten. Apologize if my sharing wasn't that clear. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Yeah.
Thank you.
Woman Henhousing.
Okay.
India ni suara Henhau. Woman Henhousing. Okay. Thank you very much for your time and effort. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and thank you for all the pros that came. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Knowledgeable sir, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Umaraj sir, thank you.
Nandri.
Narma Sabhavati sir, thank you.
Nandri.
Thank you to
madam.
all.
Convey our regards to Ilandamil, madam.
I will. Okay.
Ilandamil.
Ilandamil.
Friend. Yeah.
Who asked me to present? Yes.
Okay.
All right.
He is our friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is very our close friends.
Ravi Shankar sir, thank you.
Vanakkam.
Vanakkam sir. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Supramani connecting.
I went to Pilk, no morning. I came only just now from Pilk.
Okay, so YouTube, sir, you can watch now. No
Okay. Just show my face. I came just now. I want to go over. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.